the action. All right, here we go. Matt Sperling with the Chrome Mox, but not the Oath of Druids. Rich Shay has Force of Will ready. This settle in. This game could go a little while with these hands, don't you think?
Definitely. Now this kind of illustrates the peril of not playing Misstep. Matt has turn 1 Dak Faden,
He
but
does.
he can't protect it from a Pyroblast, which Rich Shay has.
And Rich is going to have Scalding Tarn sitting there untapped, ready to Pyroblast it on the way down. So, yeah, definitely edge Rich here.
Kevin and I were joking about what happens when you fragmentize the Chrome Mox. It's basically a 2-for-1. So
Yeah, Matt going to go for Dak here. I think at some level he's okay with baiting out the counter to clear a path for Jace next turn.
oh yeah.
Unfortunately for him, Rich has what, 3 counters? Pyroblast, snap back the Pyroblast online for next turn, and then still a Force of Will.
Yeah, this curves out very poorly for Matt here. Now he does have the strip mine, so he can strip and throw the brainstorm behind the Chrome Mox, but that's not going to stop Force of Will.
In a weird way, Dak Faden is good news for Matt, sort of, in that Snap Pyroblast is not up, but still a Force of Will to stop Jace from coming down. Now, do you steal a Mox here, or do you plus? I think you steal a Mox.
I would just go for that Mox.
Yeah, I think you steal what?
Next turn, you can Gush and then plus, and you're really cooking. And then you'll also have plenty of mana to do anything you want after that,
Yeah,
post-Gush.
It's not like he has bad cards in his hand and he needs to upgrade. I totally steal Mox Ruby here. Or okay, he stole the Jet because it's more important to Matt. That makes sense.
Good point. Wow, he's drawn both Chrome Mox.
You don't really want the second one.
No.
He's gonna have to imprint and now tap out for the Jace. If this resolves, he's okay, right? He can shuffle back the Chrome Box, but
I'm definitely pitching Snapcaster if I'm Rich here.
do you Gush first is the question.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, Gush.
Pitches the Snapcaster, holds the Gush to reload and set Dak up. I'll buy that.
Gush into Dak is just so appetizing. Delicious.
So one guy played 2 Planeswalkers, and the other one has an active Dak Faden. Gotta think this is edged or it's Shay by quite a bit here. Like,
yeah.
With Force of Will on tap to nab an Oath of Druids, I mean, Matt's already got a top deck multiple threats in a row, right?
That's right. I mean, it's hard to imagine how he comes out of this. Even, I don't think Oath of Druids. So Oath of Druids, Rich would just force, but...
Right. It has to be something like Oath followed by Oath.
That's right. You know, it's interesting tonight,
but first
Randy.
He's going to need green mana. Wow. The strip mine was brutal there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, now he's drawn Gush without a single island in play. There are 0 wastelands in all 4 decks tonight.
So, of course, both players have strip mine in the first game.
Yep. Not even the Saffron Olive deck has a single wasteland.
Huh. That's interesting. I hadn't picked up on that.
Wow. So Rich has drawn, was that all four Force of Wills?
Indeed. Ugh. And now here's take through time. Yeah, we're this. I don't know how long Matt's gonna play this out, but we're. It would not be insane for him to scoop soon. I guess he can't see Rich's hand. That's the tricky bit.
Mercy. Yeah, mercy killing. Mercy concession, rather. I think when Rich puts the dig on the stack, I suspect Matt just might scoop.
That would not be unreasonable. I mean, Matt can't see what Rich has, but he can see what he's discarding to deck.
Yeah. And you can see that he has nothing going. I mean, he literally can't play anything in his deck right now. I mean, I guess there we yeah.
Right. As you predicted, dig on the stack was good enough to prompt the concession. I had not thought about the fact, but I think you're right. Literally the only spells in Matt Sperling's deck that he could have resolved if he drew them were the Mox and the Black Lotus. Yeah, just the zeros. Crazy.
Don't worry, this match is going fast, but mine won't. So, no, it's interesting. I'll just share this. I would never play the deck I submitted in a league or a tournament, but
Okay.
because there's just not enough win conditions. But for the
Oh, okay.
VSL, I am all in on Pyroclasm and Subterranean Tremors is like the additional board sweepers, which actually served me very well tonight. Rich's his win cons are basically Snapcasters and young Pyromancers, and
Right. I mean, essentially, you're both on Xerox. You're both on blue-red controlish decks, but he's splashing green to your white splash, and yeah, he's got young pyromancers. Where you, I mean, the way I look at it, you have Jace Prodigy,
that's
where he
right.
has those young pyros.
And I have him in Tremors, so but he's got more aggressive. He's got Snapcasters and Bolts, where I have Plows and Board Sweepers.
Yeah.
But the Plows and Board Sweepers should be very, very good against the Saffron Olive deck.
Fair. What's your basic land count? Do you have like one of each?
I have
three?
planes. I have basic planes, and 2 Fragmentized main deck for Blood Moons.
Wow. You have basic planes and 2 Fragmentize?
Yes,
It's
main
almost
deck.
like you knew Saffron Olive was in your pod.
To be fair, though, I did submit my deck like 5 days in advance, so I didn't know he was going to play that.
I
Wow.
can vouch for that.
So,
Pyroclasm came in from Matt.
and he's got Sylvan Library, which is nice.
Supposed to be Rich's green splash. Rich gets turn 1 JVP if he wants him.
That's what I would do. JVP is one of those really interesting cards against Oath, right? Your opponent might not have the Orchard, but it's really dependent on how quickly you think you can flip the JVP. And with Rich having used a fetch land and having 2 cantrips, I suspect he thinks he can flip it very quickly.
Interestingly, so, Matt has 2 different red cards that could kill Jace Prodigy if he could cast them.
He can play 3 different spells here. He can play Sylvan Library. Is that Pyroclasm?
Yeah.
And Night's Whisper. Man, I think I would have played the Pyroclasm.
No, he doesn't have red mana.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Yeah, you're right.
That's my point.
So it's the Night's Whisper or Sylvan. That makes sense. Yeah. Wow. Ancestral Recall? Oh, God. If this goes right, if he finds Fetch Land, let's see. If he finds Fetch Land, Probe, and like a Gush, he could Ancestral twice this turn. Wow, Black Lotus, Ancestral twice is coming. Gee, many Christmas. That's actually way better than what I outlined. Way better.
And Matt is not going to have time to find his red mana off the Sylvan.
No. So Rich is just going to sack this Lotus for blue, play both cantrips, activate the Jace, flashback Ancestral, bam, 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 good game, match over.
Could, in theory, play Dak and plus it, but I like your line better. I think 2 cantrips is better than that. He also knows the coast is clear and there's no missteps over there.
That's right. And these Pyroblasts. Remember, there's really nothing that Matt can do about this flipped JVP. This flip JVP could literally just win the game. If he just flashes back Ancestral and then just ticks up turn after turn, he doesn't really have to do anything.
Huh.
Wow, okay, he's going to go that. Makes sense.
Oh, he can do one cantrip. I didn't realize his mana was that good. He can play the DAC,
This is unbelievable.
plus it, and then still flash back the Ancestral.
Rich has one copy of Spell Pierce in his deck, so it's one of those things that you were talking about earlier that Matt figured out last year, and he's got it. And that, like, how good is that against a deck that has both a lot of 2-mana enchantments
Oh, interesting.
and 0 missteps?
Interesting that Rich chose not to flashback Ancestral because he wanted to leave his blue mana untapped for the Spell Pierce instead.
Yeah, now he's only 3 turns away from basically killing Matt with Jace Ultimate too.
So Rich's turn 2 put 2 different Planeswalkers into play. That's what just happened?
Yeah,
Yikes.
somehow this weekend it came up. We were talking about what's the best card in old school. Brian Weissman and I had a discussion about that. And what's the best card in vintage? I don't know what your answer is, Randy.
I mean, they're both the same card, aren't they? They're both Ancestral Recall.
Well, that's what Brian said. I actually said I think the best card is Black Lotus in vintage.
Maybe.
I mean, he was able to flip it so easy.
Yeah, you can argue that Library of Alexandria is the best card in old school too.
That's my position. Library is the best in old school. Jiminy Christmas. Okay, wow. So this is
Spell Pierce on the Night's Whisper. Top decked a Time Walk?
He doesn't even need to flash it back the Time Walk because he'll just, after this time, the Time Walk turn, JVP will have 8 counters and he'll be able to Treasure Cruise. So he's just a turn away from killing Matt. Just ultimate.
Decking him with a Jace.
Yeah. We'll see how he does that. I mean, it's not like he has to go that route, but it's certainly tempting.
This is crazy. Wow, this is fast. Matt Sperling's
avalanche of card advantage.
Yeah, Matt Sperling's hopes of making the playoffs are going down here. This sure looks like we don't have the records on the screen. Matt's 1-2, Rich is 2-1. And so Matt is going to pick up the fatal third loss. I'm sure he's still interested in picking up some wins. There's digital booster packs on the line for every spot in the VSL standings, and as well as keeping helpings of pride points, of course.
It's very difficult to beat the sequence of cards that Rich had. I mean, just there's no two ways about it. Rich's hand just lined up superbly, including a lot of singletons that he didn't, that variance was in Rich's favor.
For sure.
So he does decide to tick down.
You can't pass this up. It's too much value. Goes for the Time Walk. He's got an Ancestral for later.
He's in firm control. All he needs now is a win condition, and can't.
I mean, to your point, JVP could have been his win condition, but there's a gun.
He was just a turn away from ultimate, but there we go.
But instead he gets a Time Walk and an Ancestral.
But now he has to kind of consider whether he wants to fight over Pyroclasms.
Sure. Fight over whatever. He's taking his third Time Walk turn. He's got 4 counter spells and a Gush in his hand, and he's about to flashback Ancestral Recall. I think he's fine.
And Gush, yeah. I really, really like how Pyroclasm is positioned right now in Vintage. It's a card I just don't think sees nearly enough play. It's just, I mean, that's when you shifted from the post-Mentor world where Mentor's restricted and people start relying more heavily on Pyroclasm. On Pyromancer. Pyroclasm is so much more powerful and it does such good work against shops. It also does pretty nice work against the survival decks when they've got, Deathrite Shamans and Root Wallows and that kind of nonsense. But
you make a good point. That said, DAC Emblem into Pyroblast. Oh, I half thought he was going to go for the Volcanic Island.
Nice. He wants that Sylvan. He wants that Sylvan.
Wow. And now he can sit with a grip of counters, or he can replay his DAC. I don't know if he's played a land this turn for the Scalding Tarn. This is crazy. This Oath in general has not looked very good in VSL this season. Seth Manfield 0-3'd with it, and Matt Sperling looks like he's going to run that to 04 here.
Yeah, I don't know exactly why Oath is having trouble keeping up in the current metagame. I mean, it seems like it's pretty well positioned against shops. I
Mhm.
think it's just a dog, a fairly substantial dog to both Xerox and PO, and so the rise of PO has kind of just ever so gently nudged it to the margins.
Yeah, it's also, I think, a little less consistent than the other big archetypes. Right? You do have to, it
True.
is, at some level, it plays more like a combo deck than a control deck. Like
Yeah, and you have to choose.
you can't keep control of the game long enough in the current meta. So you're sort of forced to play it like a combo deck.
That's definitely true against PO. But even against the
Right.
Xerox decks, like you have to basically either quickly go Oath or go over the top with a creature, like hard casting the Inferno Titan or whatever. And there just isn't space in the current metagame for that at the moment.
Matt Sperling's going to be like, please, sir, may I have a pyroclasm? Oh, he's going to gush first. The bait.
Which Rich will not. Well, Rich will just pyro. Well,
I don't know.
man, Pyroblast has so much value when you have an emblem in play. It's like you
Right.
could take a land, you could take.
Yeah,
Uh,
I don't think you pyroblast the gush, not when you have a DAC emblem.
he found a green spell. I can't tell whether that's Oath or not, but
Still has to pyroclasm. That's going to get flushed.
yes, yeah,
Matt can go volcanic into other copy of pyroclasm is what he can do here.
that's right.
Which presumably, and then
Yeah,
Rich
I mean,
probably pyroblasts a land and attacks for 7.
I think Rich would have just won the game by now had he gone the ultimate JVP route. I mean, he just had such an avalanche of card advantage with the Treasure Cruise, and gosh, he didn't really need to flash back the Time Walk to take 3 turns in a row. But can't
And
fault
the
him for that.
ancestral.
Yeah,
I think that's 6 loyalty counters well spent, personally. Sylvan finds his own Sylvan. Hilarious. There's nothing left to snap back. JVP already did it all. There's actually plenty left to snap back, including a treasure cruise.
Flusterstorm if he wanted. Pyro. He could pyroblast both of Matt's lands right now.
Oh, jeez. That's probably the right play.
That's the dagger. Yeah.
And wow. That's probably hoping we can top deck Black Lotus, resolve Inferno Titan. But
yeah, that's one of the other things that's interesting, the trade-off they've made here. One of the ways that Oath goes over the top is it develops its mana with Soul Ring, but Matt doesn't have Soul Ring. He's got Chrome Moxen.
right, and attack down to 3. Rich is going to have to ship the turn, but he's quite well
Yeah,
defended.
he's doing it. He's doing it, Randy. He's stealing his lands.
Snap to flash it back and steal the other one.
Yeah.
Flawless victory, no permanence. He's still got cards in hand. It's not a completely flawless victory, but wow.
It should induce concession, which is its function.
Unbelievable.
Quite believable, but quite egregious nonetheless.
I don't feel like this was Matt's fault. Rich is just
no. It was just an avalanche.
a well-piloted avalanche. To be fair, Rich piloted it quite well.
Yes,
he did also get hit in the forehead with his deck.
Right, he steered the boulder into the ice flow and just caused everything to flow down. Wow.
Matt Sperling going out on his own terms. He nature's claimed his Sylvan.
Perfect. Bolt you at 3.
The Atog Lord wins the match. So
chomp.
Shay, it chomps Matt Sperling. Rich is up to 3 wins. He just needs to win one of the next 2 to get through to the playoffs. Or if he can run the table, he can get all the way to the semifinal week of the playoffs. Here's how the playoffs work. 4-2 gets you into the playoffs. 5-1 gets you a bye into the semis. At this point, we've got the format basically worked out. The way it's going to work is there will be exactly 4 people playing that semifinal week. So the semifinal week will be 4 people. They'll be playing best 2 out of 3 matches paired up to figure out who the 2 finalists are going to be. The finals will then be best 3 out of 5 matches. This is a format we've done in the past, which I think works pretty well. The tricky bit, so that means the next week in the quarterfinals, however many people are there are going to have to play to get however many people into the semifinals. We need to have 4 semifinalists. If there's 3 5-1s, then there's only 1 spot available next week. If we've got 2 5-1s, which is what we have right now with me and Rachel sort of waiting to see what happens, then next week we'll feed 2 players into the semis.
Is your format for how that's going to play depends on how many people get into it? So you're going to do double
Yes.
elimination? Okay.
I would like it to be double elimination so that, you're in it until you lose twice. I like the cleanliness of that. But if we get 5 is always an awkward number, 6 is kind of an awkward number. I'm gonna have to talk to Athena and see how many matches we think we could squeeze into one night.
Yeah.
But yeah, the precise details of how next week work are in fact going to matter. Going to depend on precise numbers of players.
And for the audience, you've told me the answer to this, but for the audience, players have to play different decks or the same? Can play the same?
Whatever decks you want to bring is fine. We did have during the regular season, we required people to bring 2 different decks, but that memory is erased. You can bring whatever you want for the playoff.
Cool.
All right. Well, you ready for this free win red matchup?
Yeah, my number one objective is to find basic planes. So let's see how successful I am at doing that.
Makes sense. Don't go anywhere. We've got another match of Vintage Super League coming right up after this.
CoolStuffInc.com is your home for everything Magic the Gathering. Need singles for constructed or kitchen table play? Looking to pick up some sealed product or the latest in Magic accessories? We've got you covered with our extensive live inventory. With free shipping on orders of $100 or more, a 25% buy list bonus, and our ever-popular customer rewards program, CoolStuffInc.com is the place for all your Magic the Gathering needs.